Hello everybody and welcome along to the stream. Thank you for joining me. We'll hang on a minute, see if anyone else comes along, and then we'll get cracking. What we're going to be doing today is we're going to look at doing some animation of some sprites in Scratch. So we're going to make our own sprite, and then we're going to do a little algorithm, a little set of instructions that's going to allow it to animate that sprite. So we're going to flex some of those art skills today, as well as some of our programming skills. So looking forward to this, and what we'll actually do, we're going to plan to carry this over to next lesson as well. So we'll carry on what we animate today, we'll actually use tomorrow. So that'd be pretty cool. If you're just joining the stream and you want to follow along, then load up Scratch. That'd be really good, so you can follow along, or if you'd rather, you can just watch and have a go afterwards. I'll make it available as a video. But also, if you've got any questions as we're going along, put it into the comments, and I'll try and respond if I can. But I think let's get cracking. So you'll have seen from the thumbnail, I've already sort of started doing something. I've started doing a little rocket, and that's what we're going to animate today. But actually, what I want to do is I want to start again and show you everything from the very start. So let's remove this for a second. Let's just remove this. Should we get a new one? There we go. So we're going to get a brand new project. There we go. Okay. Hey Charlie, thanks for joining us again. Hey Molly, good to see you. Right, so we've got this brand new Scratch, and we're going to make our brand new animation from this. But I don't want to use Scratch the Cat when I make my own. I think it should be more interesting. So first of all, let's go into costumes. So I've got Scratch the Cat, and I'm going to use Scratch's sprite, but I'm actually going to get rid of Scratch and make my own. So let's get rid of that one. I'm going to put that costume in the bin. Now, before I can put that costume in the bin, I need to make another one. I can't have no costumes, so I'm going to go to the bottom here where I've got the little cat's head. I'm going to not choose a costume. I'm actually going to go up to paint, where I'm going to paint my own costumes. Now I've started that one, I think I can delete this one because I don't want that one anymore. So I've just got this blank costume. Okay, so you can actually draw in two different modes. You can draw in vector mode or you can draw in bitmap mode. Bitmap is quite similar to Paint if you've used the program Paint before. So it's quite easy to use, but you don't always get the neatest and tidiest sort of outcome. Bitmap, a bit trickier to use, but actually I think you get a better result in the end if you sort of stick to it. So I'm going to try and stick to using vector mode rather than bitmap mode. One thing to point out is this here is quite important. It's quite faint. I'm not sure if you can see it, but that's actually the center of your sprite. And when it comes to some of the programming we're going to do tomorrow, when we're going to be moving our sprite around, the center of the sprite could become quite important. So try and draw your sprite around the middle point there. Now, as you'll see, we're going to have a go at making a bit of a rocket and animating that rocket. So I'm going to start my drawing now. So I'm going to start by just doing outlines, and in vector mode you want to make complete shapes. So if I start with the cone of my rocket, the very top of my rocket here, and I'm going to draw just a triangle, and I'm going to connect them up, and you'll see that that little circle appears just to show that I'm connecting it back to itself, and I've got a complete shape. And there I can then choose the colour for my shape. So I'm going to choose to fill it in. I'm going to stick to the blue that I had before. Awesome. Right, okay. Then I'm going to do the next bit of the rocket. So I'm going to do the main part of the rocket down here. And again, I've got to do a complete shape. So I'm going to go over that line again. And then make the full rectangle. Try and keep it straight, or as straight as possible. That's not too bad. Okay, and then I'm going to paint all of that in blue. Okay, and then I'll make the final shape, which is like the tail fin. Actually, let's have some side fins as well. So we'll have the sort of the rocket booster here at the very bottom. and I'll colour that in. Now that I'm going to actually have white, like so. And then I'm going to do some fins at the side as well, like so. Oh no, I made a little mistake there because I forgot to join this side one up and make a complete shape. There you go. Okay, and I'm going to have those in white as well, I think. Awesome. Okay, so that's the sort of the makings of my rocket. I'm just going to do a bit of decoration now. So I'm going to get the square tool and draw sort of a checkerboard pattern. Now, some of you might know that I'm a bit of a Tintin fan. And one of my favourite Tintins is Tintin Goes to the Moon, or Tintin Walks on the Moon. There's 2 stories, and he goes up in a rocket that's a little bit like this one. So I quite like the little design of the checkerboard rocket. It looks quite good. Now what's nice about vector mode is I can actually go back in to a shape and I can just adjust it. So if that one's just a bit too tall for me, I can go in and adjust it and I can move them. And you couldn't do that in bitmap mode, so that's pretty useful. And I can just even it out a bit and get a bit more of a shape. Now that's a bit high. Let's bring that one down a bit. Then we could just adjust that one. Just takes a little bit of care and attention. Obviously, the more time you spend on it, the better you can make it look. Okay, we're pretty much there. Okay, so I've got the outline of a rocket and I'm pretty happy with that as it stands. So the next thing we're going to want to do is think about how we're actually going to animate it, because that's the base model, and then from there I'm actually going to add on extra bits of animation. So when we put the algorithm in, it'll actually change from one costume, the base costume, to the next costume. So I'm going to start now making that second costume, and to do that I have to first right click on costume number 1 and duplicate it. So I've now got 2 copies of the same costume, but I can change one of them to be my first part of the animation. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and actually make the rocket ship have flames come out the back, so you can see that the power is on and it's being pushed forward, the thrusters are on. So again, I'm going to get that line tool, I'm going to draw a line right across the bottom of the engine, and then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do like a little zigzaggy flames pattern on the bottom. Do it just a little one. I'm not going to go too big yet, there'll be time for that. So I've got that little zigzaggy, but it's not obvious it's flames yet, we need to colour it in. So let's get some colour. So I'm going to want like a sort of a yellowy colour, I think, just to show that it's hot, but it's not super hot. We can get to the super hot colours. So let's go a bit more saturation than that. Nice. Okay, cool. So that's the first stage of my rocket booster. So that's like low rockets. So then let's duplicate that one, and I'm ready to do the next stage of my animation. So I've already got the yellow flames. Now let's build the flames a bit more. Let's show that there's even more power. So I'm going to go all the way along here, like so. Okay, now I'm going to have to trace my steps here. Oh, actually, I'll tell you what I can do. I can go across the back there. I can colour this in the colour I want, and let's see what happens. Will it be on top of it? That's the question. Right, it is, and it's also not the colour I want yet. A bit more like it, that more flamey orange. Okay, so it's on top, but let's see if I can move it backwards. Can I select it and move it backwards? I reckon I probably can. I've got it selected, and now I can send it backwards. There you go, it's gone underneath. That's brilliant. So I've now got the second stage of my rockets. Okay, so let's try and make it a third one. Let's make it a third booster level. So I have a really fast booster level as well. So let's duplicate that costume again. And again, we're going to go really big this time. So this is like the real big rocket. It's real powerful, fastest mode we've got. Okay. And again, I'm going to end up colouring over the top. This is the fastest rocket, so it's going to have to be the most powerful flame. It's going to have to be red flames, isn't it? So let's fill it in with a bit of red. Now it's gone over the top, but that's not a problem because I know I can select it and I can send it backwards. Awesome, so that's like the main thruster of my rocket. Okay, cool, I'm really happy with that. I've got 3 costumes. I've got no engines, small engines, medium engines, and then the full power engines right there. Okay, so let's go do some coding and see if we can get this to animate on our stage. So here it is on our stage. Let's see if I can't get it to animate so we can see the rockets fire. So we need to look at looks, and in looks there is a switch costume, and we've got costumes 1, 2, 3, and 4. But there's also next costume, and I'm going to use next costume because that's a little bit more efficient. I can just use one block for what I want to do today, because all I want to do is switch from the first costume to the second costume to the third costume, and then back looping round again. So let's get a start block. So when the green flag's clicked, I just want it to, for forever, go to the next costume. Now let's see what happens when I click this. We might have to do some extra work as well on that to make it work properly. Let's see. So I've clicked go. Oh right, okay, so it's going, but it's going really fast. Too fast actually. That's not what I want. I want it to be much slower than that. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to make the computer stop while it's doing this algorithm. So at the moment, computers are brilliant at doing things really fast, and it's reading that algorithm and it's going, right, when I click go, just keep doing the next costume as fast as I can, and that is as fast as my computer can go. It can't do it any faster than that, but that's too fast. So we actually need to tell computers to stop and slow down and wait. So what I'm going to do is, in the loop, I'm actually going to put a wait 1 second block. So when we click the green flag, it's going to wait a second, change the costume. Then it will start again, and it will wait a second, change the costume. And so that delay is built into the cycle. And so when I start it now, we should see it's dramatically slowed down. Now you can see it goes 1, 2, 3. Now I think we've probably got the other end of the problem now. It's now too slow. It doesn't look like it flows. So we're going to get into decimal numbers here. We don't want it to wait a whole second. So let's try half a second. And we can see, okay, that's a bit better. It's still a little bit slow for me. I'm not 100% convinced that's what I want. So I'm going to try and go down again. Okay, we're getting there. That might be all right. Well, we might do 0.1. Yeah, I think either 0.1 or 0.2, one of the two. I'm quite happy with that. Okay, that's pretty good. Right, so I've got a sprite that I made myself, and I've got an animation that is working. I'm really happy with that. So the next thing I'm going to think about doing is I'm going to think about, can I get it to move? And I think what we might do is we might think about looking at just a cheeky bit today. I was going to hold this off for tomorrow, but I think we've done so well. I reckon we can have a look at making it move as well. So we'll just put that to one side, and I'm just going to stop it so I can focus on what we're doing. So now my rocket is in the middle of the stage, and that's absolutely fine. But I want to be able to move it, and I'm going to say, I'm going to look for a control. No, I'm going to look in events, sorry. And we're going to say, right, so when the space key is pressed, that's going to be our thrusters button. So it's going to try and move us forward when we have pressed the space key. Okay, now I'm going to go to motion, and unlike yesterday, I don't want to move on the X and Y axis, I want to move forwards relative to the way my rocket's facing. So I'm going to use this move 10 steps. Okay, so if I put those together, so when space key is pressed, move 10 steps. Now what I'd hope will happen is that we'll move up the screen. So let's see, I'm going to press space and see what happens. Okay, I'm moving right, so my rocket is like a crab going sideways. That's not what I want at all. So that's obviously a bit of a problem because it thinks forward is this way, to the right. Well, that's not what I want. So we need to have a look at how we are going to sort that. So we need to rearrange our rocket. So let's go into our costumes, see if it's there. No. I can flip. And I can flip, but I don't want to do those. I want to rotate the whole thing 90 degrees. So can I do that? I can group it, and I can rotate it. Perfect. Okay, now again, here's where I'm going to have to be careful, because I want the middle of my sprite to be in the middle of this box. Okay, and so if I do that each time, so if I select the whole thing, rotate, and then make sure that I line it up with the middle, we should be okay. Okay. Right. And just do the original one. Hopefully, it's not going to affect my animation too much. If it does, we'll have a think about how we can fix it. Okay. So I've turned them all sideways. Let's just see how our animation now looks. Hopefully it's not too jerky. Alright, okay, so it is moving forwards during the animation, so I'm going to have to look at that. Okay, let's just see if the spacebar is working. Okay, so at the very least it now moves in the direction we expect it to move. I'm going to have a rethink on the way I've drawn my rocket. So I'm going to have to move everything backwards a little bit. If I line it all up with where the checkerboard crosses, so that where that checkerboard is there, if I line that up with the middle, will that work? I hope so. So that one's lined up. That one isn't lined up. Let's try that. Okay. And the last one, right, that one really isn't lined up. Okay. Let's try that. So now I've lined it up all on the same part. Is that going to be better? Yeah, that's better. So that stays in one place now. Okay. And I can press spacebar and I can move it along as it's going. Awesome. So I've got a bit of an animation going on. But I don't want to just move my 10 steps because that is a little bit boring. Oh, excuse me. I just need to pop off for 1 second. Oh, hey guys, sorry about that. My dog's alright. She's fine. She just wanted my attention. So, yeah, we've got our little scratch animation going now. We've got the movement going, but I think moving by 10 steps is just way too easy. So we're going to go a bit more advanced than that. So we're going to use a variable. And I'm going to make a variable. I'm going to make a new one. And I'm going to call it speed. So this is the speed at which our rocket will move. Okay. And I want this rocket to move by speed. So when we start the game, I want the speed to be 0, so it's not moving at all. So I need to get an events block. Glad you're enjoying it, Mole. I'm glad it's useful. You know, it's why we're doing it. It's why we're here. try and carry on as normal, So when we start, the variable is going to be set to 0. I actually want it to forever be going at the speed of the variable. So I'm going to put that. So when the game starts, it's 0, but then it's going to keep checking to see what that variable is. So as long as it's 0, it's not moving. As soon as we change that to another number, it's going to start moving. So when the spacebar is pressed, we are going to change the variable by 10. Oops. Right. Now if I do this, the variable will change by 10 and our rocket's going to fly off the edge of the screen. In fact, I will show you that now. So I'm going to press space, that's going to change to 10 and it's going to fly off, he says. Ooh, now why hasn't that happened? I press the space bar when the green flag's clicked, right? Green flag clicked, we're ready, the boosters are on, press space, and I've changed my variable, but what I want is it to be speed, and I want to change speed, not my variable. Let's try again. So press space, and off it goes. Okay, guys, if you ever have that your sprites disappear off the edge of the stage, you can do this little trick. This is really useful. You can get the go-to block, and you can say, I want you to go to 0, 0. Now 0, 0 is the origin point, it's the middle of the stage. So if you make it 0, 0 and then click on it, it will come back to the middle of the stage. So that's quite a useful one. I might just hang on to that in case we lose it again. So that was great, but actually what I want is I want the rocket to speed up and then slow back down again. So we're going to change the speed to 10, but then immediately afterwards I'm going to put in I'm going to change the speed by -2. So I'm going to put it all the way up to 10, but then I'm immediately going to start bringing it back down again. So I want to take it from 10 all the way back down to 0, so it slows down and stops again. And so to do that, I'm going to have to take away from the variable. So it starts at 10. I'm going to take away 2, it will become 8, another 2, 6, another 2, 4, and then 2, and then finally 0, and then I want it to stop. So I only want it to take away -2. I want to do -2 5 times. So I'm going to get the repeat loop, and I'm going to slide it in there. So I want it to repeat this bit 5 times. Okay, let's see what that does. So I'm going to press space. Now that's interesting. It didn't do what I expected it to do. It hasn't slowed it down. I pressed space, it changed speed to 10, and then it changed. Oh, I've done the same mistake twice, guys. I haven't changed the variable to speed, I've left it as my variable. Let's try that again. Here you go, a bit of live debugging for you. We all make the mistakes, so let's try again. Okay, so it does it, and you can see it kind of goes forward and then slows down, goes forward and slows down. It's slowing down a bit too fast for me though, so we're going to do the same thing we did before, is we're going to put a weight in. And again, we're going to have to see what's the right period of time, so I'm going to try 0.5. So that was slowing down, but it wasn't very good. It was a bit jerky. I didn't like that, so it's too long a wait. So let's try 0.1. It is amazing when you start doing weights and computers realize how long a second is, really. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. But do you know what? I think it's still a little jerky, and I reckon I can make it smoother, and I think this is how I can do it. Instead of taking away 2, I'm going to take away 1. And instead of repeating it 5 times, I'm going to repeat it 10 times. So taking away 1 10 times is 10. So let's try that now. Yeah, that's nice and smooth, isn't it? I like that. That's nice and smooth. Okay, so we can play around with the numbers. We might say actually that's too far, so we want it to only go 8. So we're going to repeat that 8 times. You might say that you want to change the number of how long the wait is, all sorts. But we've got a bit of an idea now about how we can make a bit of a movement for our sprite. Now, we're stuck going right at the moment. So we're going to try and do some turning, lefts and rights. Should be pretty good. So let's do, we need some more events. So I'm going to have, when I receive, no, I don't want to broadcast. I'm not broadcasting, that was yesterday. I want to, when something is pressed. So when the space key is pressed, I don't want to use space, I've already used it. I'm going to use the left arrow, and I want one for the right arrow. Here, okay. And then when I get left or right, I'm going to get it to turn either right 15 degrees or left 15 degrees. Okay, so now when I press space, it goes forward, but I can also change the direction that my rocket is heading in. And I can fly it around left and right. Now, here's an experiment. What happens if I hold down spacebar? Nothing. Okay, so you have to keep tapping it if you want it to keep boosting. Oh, but it won't do that. Okay, so you'll only do these short bursts. Okay, that's interesting. That's very interesting. So I'm quite happy with that. It's quite effective. It works quite well. And I think we can start to think about developing a game from that. So I'm really happy with how that's gone. If you want to be ready for tomorrow, just watch the video back, make a scratch exactly like this. Your rocket can look different, you can have different numbers in how it moves, you can try changing some of the numbers in how it turns, that's absolutely fine. But tomorrow what we'll do is we'll pick up what we've done here today, and we'll make a bit of a game out of it. So maybe put some obstacles in, we could have some things flying around the screen, and you've got to avoid them. So that'd be quite good. If you've joined me live or if you're watching, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I'm quite enjoying doing these. Hopefully you are too. Spread the word, let everyone know, and hopefully I will see you again soon. Thanks a lot, guys. Oh, like, comment, subscribe.